We're honored that you're here tonight. We've found that soccer is just an amazing tool. It's an amazing tool, that's what it is, to reach people all over the world. And so we're beginning to transform lives and strengthen communities because of your investment here tonight. And so we're just grateful that you're here, all right? I do just want to give you a few logistics, though. You've been bidding. You're going to have a chance to bid again. The silent auction will close at 7:35. So dinner's going to be served here in just a couple minutes. You can get up during dinner, and you can go back and make your last bids. And that thing will close, and whoever wins is the winner, and you'll get to check out at the end of the night. Okay, so 7:35. Keep eyes on your watches, and we'll get ready to do that. You've also got a bidding number. Everybody got a bidding number? Wave it at me. Just get some practice here. You've got a bidding number. Okay, we're getting there. This is for later at the end of the night. You're going to hear stories of transformation, stories of lives that have been changed, some statistics, some things. And at the end of the night, you're going to have the opportunity to contribute, to make a difference, for you to invest in a few different ways. And so we've got a fund and needs section, and there's 3 rounds to that where you can provide various different things for people that we get to impact together. And so I want you to be ready for that. Maybe warm up your arm. You're going to get the chance to be a little rowdy. Shout out how many you want, okay? So we want it to feel lively during that time. And everything that you give during that time is going to help fund 2022, okay? We do 2 events a year, and this is the one that we do in November. We do a golf tournament in May, okay? And through these 2 events, along with some of our program fees, we're able to fund everything that we're able to do together. And through your collective generosity tonight, people's lives are going to be transformed. They're going to discover their God-given purpose. They're going to grow as leaders, and they're going to begin to serve and change the world. I want to give you just a clear picture of what that looks like before we get into anything else. And so I want you to watch this.
My name is Rifin Kajengu, and I was born in the Democratic Republic of Congo. I was 4 years old when I first fell in love with soccer. Using a ball made of plastic bags and goals from sticks, I was able to find an escape from the pain of poverty I faced each day. Little did I know how influential the game would be on my life. At the age of 8, a violent civil war gave my family an opportunity to find safety in the States. When we arrived, I met a neighborhood coach who cared more about me as a person than as a player. He inspired me to pursue my education, grow in my faith, and open doors for me to play club soccer. Eventually, I earned a chance to play college soccer and even had professional tryouts. It was a dream come true. Now as a coach, I'm developing players and helping them discover their purpose so that they can become leaders who serve their city and change the world. Knowing that there's another kid out there just like me motivates me to use the beautiful game to make an internal impact in the lives of others. Together, we can change the game.
This type of generational impact is what you're making possible tonight, okay? And so we're thrilled just to introduce you to a concept of using something to fulfill the Great Commission. The Bible tells us in Matthew chapter 28 that we're to go into all the world and proclaim the good news, make disciples. And through soccer, we have the ability to do that. You're going to hear stories tonight of professionals to preschoolers. You're going to hear stories tonight from people from all over the world to people who are from right here in our own city, okay? And soccer just has a way of connecting with people. And we want you to discover that because soccer for us is not the end. It's the beginning. It's the beginning of relationship, the beginning of connecting with people. And we're not quite ready for dinner yet, guys. We'll get there in just a moment. Just 1 minute. Thanks so much. We're going to play a little game. It's going to be good. You're going to like it. But I want you to hear that. Some people come up to me and say, hey, how's the soccer thing? I'm like, I don't even know if I want to answer it. Like, yes, we're using soccer, but that's not the heart behind what we're doing. We're here to reach people, right? And so I want you to catch that vision tonight. I want you to see how that helps us to go into all the world and reach. You name the type of person. You tell me what you're passionate about. Soccer has a way of reaching them. And so before we get into dinner, I thought we could play a little game, have some fun. Everybody okay with that? Can we do that? It's a little trivia game. I want to see what you actually do know about soccer, though. So this game is going to be with your table. Okay, there's 5 questions. You're gonna keep track of your scores at your own table. So I don't know who your scorekeeper is, but I'm looking for someone honest at each table to keep track of your score of these 5 questions. The table that gets them all correctly is gonna get hooked up with a bunch of merch from the merch table, okay? So, you guys ready for this? I need your answers in writing here, like take out your notes section on your phone. No liars in here, okay? No liars in here. Here you go, first question. What percentage of the world participates in soccer? Keep your answers quiet to your table, all right? Here we go. Is it A, 33%, B, 40%, C, 5%, or D, 52%? Collect your answers at your table. Let's go. You've got your consensus. Everybody got it? Answers locked in? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The answers are locked in. Question number 2. Where will the 2022 FIFA World Cup be hosted? A, Qatar, B, France, C, South Korea, D, Croatia. We just had to see what you knew about soccer tonight, so. Locking in those answers. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Question number 3. There's only 5 questions. How many World Cups has the U.S. women's national team won? Is it A, 3, B, 4, C, 7, or D, 1? Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lock in your answer. Question number 4. Which 3 cities does Impact City FC currently serve? A, South Florida, Houston, St. Louis. B, St. Louis, Kansas City, South Florida. C, South Florida, Charleston, Indianapolis. And D, St. Louis, South Florida, and Charleston. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lock in your answer. Last question. Here we go. Last question. This might surprise some of you. Soccer is America's 2nd most popular sport, behind only what sport? A, football. B, basketball. C, baseball. D, track and field.
What's the logic behind making the decision on what's more popular?
A poll that Gallup did.
Based on participation? Based on...
It's a poll that Gallup did. Five, 4, 3, 2, time. All right. I want to see which table has got 5 answers right. Okay, so here's your answers. Question number 1. What percentage participates in soccer? B, 40%. %40 of the world participates in the game of soccer. You want to reach people? Use soccer. Question number 2. Where will the 2022 World Cup be? Qatar, letter A. Number 3, how many World Cups has the U.S. women's national team won? B, 4. 3 locations that Impact City FC is currently serving. Letter D, St. Louis, South Florida, and Charleston. And number 5, the second most popular sport in America behind what? C, baseball. All right, how many questions you guys got right? 5 in the back, 4, 3. All right, table number 8, Faith. Take them what they've won. If you've not visited the merch table, there is t-shirts, sweatshirts, black ones, white ones. There's women's cut, men's cut. Make sure you visit there. Table number 8, take what you want. If you'd like to trade your size, you can go trade your size, all right? We are ready to eat. All right, we're going to open up in just a quick word of prayer. And so I want to invite just one person forward, and I want to recognize a few people before we get there tonight. Okay? So this night wouldn't be made possible without our host, Mr. Jimmy Martin. Thank you so much for hosting, sir. Honored to be here at Admirals Cove. Blessed to have your daughter as a part of our program. Thank you so much for having us. We've got 4 amazing sponsors. A few of them are in the room tonight. Genoxide Technology, who's not here, is a company actually out of Ohio. And so they've just been gracious. They provide IT support. So if you need anything with IT, hit them up. Brenda, thank you so much. Realtor here tonight, thank you so much for sponsoring. Christ Fellowship Church, thank you so much for sponsoring the evening tonight. And Robert Allen Law. They lean into yachts, right? So I'm sure that you've dealt with them a little bit. So if you've got a yacht and you need some law, go ahead, hit up Robert Allen Law, okay? We're going to pray. I'm going to ask Joby Slay to come on up and pray for our meal. Since we got started here in South Florida, Joby has been an amazing advocate for us, just supporting, connecting, faithful guy who I've just come to love, and I just want to say thank you in front of everybody. And so thank you for the way that you've supported Impact City in this last year.
Yeah.
Would you pray for us?
Yeah, I'll say something real quick because I need to before I pray, because this being here is an answer to prayer. Like, since the time I was 5 years old, soccer to even this day has done amazing things for me. The relationships I've met, of people I've met, including my beautiful wife and I met on a soccer field. Many of the people in this room I know because of this game and that I call friends. Even being led to accept Christ as my Lord and Savior happened because of soccer. So, when Aaron says it, it's absolutely true. And so when he called me 2 years ago, he calls me, and I'm in Dallas, Texas, and he calls me, and he says, hey, I'm coming to South Florida with this thing, and he tells me the vision, and I literally, start crying because I've been praying about this, trying to figure out ways that we can do this with the game, and there was the answer to prayer coming. And so, yeah, if there's something I could do, I've been called to do it because I'm called to help support whatever Impact City's going to do. So let me pray. Lord, we just thank you for Aaron, all the people in this room tonight, Impact City, the vision you laid on his heart many years ago, and then a couple years ago to bring him to South Florida. And, I thank you for connecting us. I thank you for connecting all the people in this room, and that you're bringing the resources and the people that are going to support this and help it grow and help it expand so that we can reach more people for you. And we just pray for all the kids that are going to be coming through the program, the families, the parents, siblings, grandparents, friends that come through this program, and that, we know that you will bring the resources and provide for it. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. All right, we're going to eat. We're going to extend the auction time until 7:40 just because we're a little bit behind. So you can get up during the meal time, visit, and make sure you win something, all right? Enjoy the meal.
My name is Manny. I'm the captain of the U14 Impact City boys team. I've played basically my whole life. And where do I start? Impact City, they made such a big impact on my life. Last year, my club, it just started going downhill. And Aaron came to me with open arms. And I'm just so thankful to have him in my life. And the devotionals we have in practices, I love those. And then before and after games, we make sure to pray. That's even better. And I'm just so thankful for this just this amazing opportunity. And yeah.
That's great. Manny, we're so glad that you're here.
God bless you all.
One of the reasons that we've asked Manny to share is because he's one of these emerging leaders. And I don't know what you were doing when you were 13 years old, if you ever stood up in an event like this and spoke to 74 adult humans. But Manny is one of our leaders that we're excited about really investing in. And he's starting to take leadership on the team and realizing that he's got influence on his teammates and at school. And that it goes far beyond just the field here and now. And one of the ways that we get to invest in these guys is earlier this year, we signed a partnership with the John Maxwell Leadership Foundation. And so any of the kids that are on our teams, during the fall season, they hear biblical teaching, they get to the point where they discover their God-given purpose, and then in the second half of the year, we go through content from the John Maxwell Leadership Foundation to help them become leaders so that they can then begin to serve. And starting in the summer, all of our teams get the opportunity to go on mission trips and serve and give their life away. And so, Manny, we're super excited for you and all your teammates to continue growing as leaders. But also Manny represents the 900 plus athletes that we're working with on a regular basis now. And that's St. Louis, South Florida, and Charleston. But that's just in 2 years. And that's not like, hey, come to an event and we count you. It's like you're in an ongoing scenario where you're in this environment where you get to be mentored by a coach or by a chaplain. So we've got 900 athletes now that we're caring for over the last 2 years. And that number for me is really, really exciting because when you start something, in November of 2019, and you go, I wonder if anybody's going to do this. I wonder if anybody's actually going to sign up and participate. And then March 2020, something happened. And so for the 2 years of our existence, 12 months of that has been COVID everything, right? It's like, who's going to sign up for this? But that 900 number shows me that there is a need that we're meeting for players just like Manny. And so you're going to get to a chance to contribute and make it possible for players like Manny to participate in a greater way tonight, okay? And I want you to see how soccer starts to begin to change everything. Because Manny, he might end up being a professional player, but he's definitely gonna end up being a husband. He's definitely gonna end up working in a job, and he might be a business leader. He might be a government official. He might do a million different things. He could do any number of things that he wanted to. But through soccer, we have the chance to impact his life, and he has the opportunity to impact any environment that he walks into. And this thing with Impact City really is generational, especially when we talk about the youth club part of what we get to do. And I mentioned this to you before, but each one of you walked in here tonight with a passion. Some of you might be passionate about helping young girls succeed. Soccer can do that. In Haiti, we've been working with young girls and giving them opportunity to play when they have no opportunity to play. Some of you might be passionate about reaching people who are of different religions, Buddhists, Muslims. We've been doing that this year as well. Some of you might be passionate about reaching the influencer. We're working with players from preschool up to the English Premier League, right? And so you want to talk about influencers? We're working with some of those very best. Maybe you're passionate about the next generation. The youth club is your thing. Perhaps you're passionate about what the Bible calls the least of these in Matthew 25. Soccer gives us the opportunity to work with them as well. And so I want you to just see one of the programs that we run called City Reach.
City City Reach provides high-quality, free programming for underserved communities in urban areas. Our grassroots approach provides accessibility and opportunities for children to play in a safe and supportive environment that teaches valuable life skills, points them towards Jesus, and promotes an active lifestyle.
Hey everyone, my name is Brian Galvin, and I'm the Director of Coaching here in South Florida for Impact City FC. First off, thank you all for coming. It's amazing to see a room full of people who share in our vision to share Jesus with the world through football. I want to talk about a few of these experiences that I've had with the City Reach program and some work that we've done reaching out to, as Aaron said, the least of these, people who can't afford paid programming, people who are not at the highest levels of the game. Before moving up to Palm Beach County, I lived in Miami the last 8 years. And during the pandemic, there was really only one field that was open, and it was in the neighborhood of Little Haiti. So I would show up every Thursday night, tall white guy, late 30s. It's a bunch of guys, bunch of Haitians, speaking nothing but Creole, kind of looking at me like an outsider. But then once the game started, eventually they'd pick me for one of the teams, and we'd play. And for those first couple weeks, it was really nothing but, we played soccer, maybe a few high fives, a few smiles, but that was it. But as the weeks went on, they really started embracing me. They're like, hey, what's your number? Let's get your number so we can make sure we text you the next time we come out and play. Relationships started getting built purely because we shared the game of soccer. And as the program went on, I showed up every single Thursday. I was there, we'd play pickup, and I started sharing with them. I'm like, hey, come out for a Christmas party. We're gonna be here on a Saturday morning. It was the Saturday before Christmas. I was like, I'm gonna bring some Gatorade, I'm gonna bring some Christmas cookies, and I'm gonna bring some stuff for you guys too. So they were super excited, ended up having about 40 kids from the neighborhood all show up. And we were able to, through some donations from people, provide every kid there with a new pair of soccer boots and a ball, cookies, Gatorade, and then I had the chance to sit down with them and kind of tell them, I'm sure you guys are wondering why I show up every single week. Like, I have really nothing in common with you except the love of this game. So we'd roll the ball out, play soccer, make connections. And by the end, I was able to share them. Look, this is why I do it. Because this is how I can impact your life through this soccer ball. We made connections we would have never made except through soccer. I want to tell you about one other experience that I've had very recently. I'm sure you guys saw the images on the news of the evacuation from Afghanistan. Planes full of people, crowded in, shipping them off out of a war-torn country. These refugees, they went to Europe briefly, and then most of them ended up settling in the US. Aaron received a call from someone in Virginia saying, hey, we have an opportunity to serve these refugees through soccer. Do you have anyone interested? So we put some people together, ended up teaming up with a team of coaches. We went up to Virginia to what they call Little Afghanistan. And there were over 6,000 refugees all on this military base with really nothing to do. Their lives had been torn upside down, families were torn apart, people were victims of the Taliban who were there, and it was turmoil. But they said, how can we reach these people? How can we somehow assimilate them into US culture? How can we give them some glimmer of hope, some glimmer of their past life? And so they looked to a soccer ball. So we came up there and didn't really know what to expect. Showed up at a huge field, couple pop-up goals, couple bags of balls, and each day that we did training out there, over 600 people, men, women, young boys, young girls, all out on the field, having some sort of semblance of home, some sort of joy brought back into their life after everything had been taken from them. So we're out there, we're sharing biblical principles with them, talking to them about leadership, talking to them about what it means to be a good neighbor, talking to them about sharing, everything that they need to assimilate into US culture. And one thing that really stuck out for me from that trip, obviously, the kids, they're out there just having fun, playing a game they love. But the adults that were around the field, they were so interested in who we were and why we were there. And I got into one conversation with a gentleman, and he said to me, an older gentleman, probably 60s or 70s, he said, and full Afghani, like traditional outfit, and spoke English. And he's like, why are you guys here? Like, we understand that you guys are volunteers. Why are you here? Where are you from? I said, oh, I flew up from Florida. There's people who flew here from Chicago. Some came up from North Carolina. And he was like, but why? He's like, we don't help our enemies. He's like, in our culture, we don't do that. Someone's a different religion than us. They're a different tribe than us. They're a different class than us. We don't help them. Why are you here? And we said, look, we love you guys. That's the only answer. We love you. And we want to see you be successful in this country. We want to give you some glimmer of hope. And for them, this is their first impression. It's their first impression of Western culture. It's their first impression of the US. Most importantly, it's their first impression of people who follow Jesus. And we want that impression to be as good as possible. And it was. You could see in their eyes that, wow, these people are different. I don't know why they care about me yet, but it has something to do with this Jesus guy. So as it says in the Bible, we sometimes the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. And so we always think of that day, oh, it's time to reap the harvest. Well, it wasn't time to reap the harvest yet. Sometimes it's time to plant the harvest. Nope, it wasn't even time to plant the harvest yet. It was time to go out into a horrible field and just start picking up rocks. Take big rocks and throw them off the way so that eventually the field can be planted and eventually sown. So our work that we did in Little Afghanistan, it paved the way. It gave them that first impression of what it means to be a follower of Jesus. And as these people get settled across the US, we hope that there's more Christians in their lives that can continue that message to finally plant the field and then harvest it for Jesus. So thank you, guys.
Thanks so much, Brian. Brian represents 32 coaches that we now have at Impact City FC. 32 coaches who have a testimony of what Jesus has done for them, who care about investing in other people's lives, and are doing it in a variety of ways. Yes, some in a youth club scenario, some in Riviera, some in Belgrade, right? Whatever comes up, and some in Little Afghanistan, and some, as the world opens up, all over the world. We did have one other experience this summer that Brian and 8 other people got to travel to Los Angeles to be a part of One Day LA with this guy here, Justin Bieber. Might sound interesting to you or weird. Justin Bieber headlined a concert called the Freedom Experience, in which he proclaimed the gospel to over 10 million people in the room, and then what's happened on video. And regardless of what you think about the guy, there's all sorts of worship artists that came to that event, pastors who came to that event, and the gospel was clearly shared. And we played our part in that week. It was a movement of 20,000 people who came to LA to give the greatest display of love that Los Angeles has ever seen. So we ran a variety of soccer camps there. We saw 12 players accept Jesus for the first time. One of those boys' names was Juan. He's 12 years old. And I remember looking at Juan, and he just came every single day, 12 years old. And single mom, no father, engaged with our coaches, but he now has a heavenly Father. And through the love of these coaches, they got him a Bible, and he now has that in an ongoing way. And we're actually dreaming forward in years to come. What does it look like to serve the country? I could almost call it a country. The country of California, right? And so as we dream about future cities and where God might be leading us, there's some things brewing out there in Los Angeles and Orange County and San Diego that are really interesting. But we've got to lock down what we're doing first. And as God continues to provide, we can reach more people in more cities like Juan through missions experiences. And it is, look at this picture, guys, by the way. This is a picture that represents what we've been able to do over the course of the year and what your support makes possible. And the collection of people is really interesting to me, who soccer is able to reach. And soccer really does change everything for the next generation, for the least of these, and for the influencer. This number is something that's interesting to me. Over the past 12 months, we've seen an average of 1.56 players per week make a decision to follow Jesus through Impact City FC. That means that every week that we exist, 1.5 humans give their lives to Jesus. And so that's something that we get to celebrate. That's why we labor. One of the other things we got to do is work with KAKA at the beginning of the year. The professional soccer season runs kind of January, February, all the way through November or December here in the US. There's a collection of chaplains that are working together in Major League Soccer and in the United Soccer Leagues to serve professional players. We've been able to place four of our own chaplains there, but we've been able to be a part of the leadership team that connects all of these chaplains together in the Pro Chaplains Network. And we hosted a conference at the beginning of the year in January, and I spoke right after Kaka. It was a little bit humbling. Kaka is 2007 World Player of the Year and has an amazing testimony of what Jesus has done for his life and is using that platform for the glory of God all over the place. So he spoke into the chaplains, and then I had to follow that. And so I have no idea what I said. But just being able to invest in about 85 chaplains from across the country who are serving teams who might not work for Impact City, but they work for other organizations or they're volunteers, was just a fun thing for us to be a part of as we talk about reaching the influencer. And maybe you don't know tons about the professional game, so I brought a guest tonight. I want you to put your hands together and welcome Jean-Marc Alexander, former Haitian national team captain. Come on down. You can grab this microphone here, my man. We're going to do a little interview just to help you guys catch up to what it looks like to be in the professional game and why it's so necessary and needed for Christian voices to exist in the sport. And so, are you good? You ready?
It's been a long time, but I'm ready.
Yeah, quarantine kept you away. Yeah, I get it. You played for 10 years across various leagues in the U.S. and around the world. Yes? You represented your national team. Can you help us understand the various levels of professional soccer and how the national teams fit into that? Because it's kind of confusing. Do I play for U.S. or do I play for FC Dallas, right? Like, how does that work? How does it all fit together?
The different levels, basically grassroots is where it starts. That's what Impact City is doing. And then once you leave from grassroots, you could either go through school, high school, college, and then from college you go to the pros. As far as the international teams, the way it works is that, like, for example, think about the NBA, right? You have guys who play for different teams in the NBA, but for the Olympics, they all get together and represent the U.S. So that's how the national team works for soccer as well. Soccer is more international than the NBA, where, for example, you have guys who are playing in, like, Europe, Germany, Spain, and then once the national team calls them up, they leave whatever country they're in, and they come together and play for the U.S. or Haiti.
Yeah, no, that's good. And the national team is the highest honor.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And so you got to represent your country 52 times.
Correct.
You got to wear the captain's armband.
Very, very special.
Can you share just one of your favorite memories? I know you told me one, but I want to hear what you would have to say about that. Favorite memory of playing?
I would say probably one of the biggest games I've played was against Spain, and that was down in Miami. That was when after Spain won the previous World Cup, and they were getting ready to play the Confederation Cup in Brazil. And that was one of the first times I got to captain the national team. That was a very, very good experience for me. Once I played that game, there was really no other games that was hard for me. It was like the highest level you could play, playing against guys like Xavi and Iniesta, people who, guys in this room who knows football, know who these players are, and that was one of the biggest experiences. But the most memorable and special experience was when I played for Haiti, the very first game they played after the earthquake we had, and the stadium at that point was used as a place to just, give people a place to live. There was tents in the stadium, and for about 2 years, the place was just you couldn't recognize it if it was a football stadium. People were sleeping on the stands and stuff like that. So when we finally got over the earthquake, we played our first game there, and the atmosphere, to come back. And soccer is so special in the sense that a country like Haiti, whenever the national team play, we're like the pride and joy of the country. So for 90 minutes, people are not thinking about being hungry, not having a place to stay, having food to eat. Yeah. For 90 minutes, they're focused, happy, cheering their national team on. So that for me is the greatest honor as far as playing soccer.
I love it. How'd you play in that game against Spain?
I did well. But it was definitely...
Is Iniesta really that good?
He is amazing.
Yeah.
I tell people this all the time. One of my biggest regrets was not, I played the whole game. I wish I was subbed out so I could sit and watch it in person. But it was amazing.
Yeah, love it.
We lost 2-1.
That's a good result for Haiti, yeah? Better than any result Honduras could get. Did I get him?
Yeah, you did.
This past year, though, we actually had the opportunity as Impact City to conduct chapel for the U.S. men's national team when they played Honduras. And so that was exciting for us. We also got to work with a player from Chelsea FC in the Premier League this past year. We got to work with a player who got drafted in Major League Soccer this year to DC United. And so through chaplaincy, we've been able to do a variety of different things across MLS and across the second division here in USL. And you know, when I talk about chaplaincy, sometimes people don't get it. But I know you played for Orlando City, and you interacted with a chaplain there. Can you talk just a little bit about how that chaplain influenced your life and kind of gave you a picture of how you can influence other people?
Right. So, you know, growing up playing soccer as a kid, I always felt guilty when I would miss church on Sundays to go play soccer. And I always felt like I was choosing between God and soccer. But it wasn't until I really met up with a chaplain, started in Salt Lake, John Prim, he was the chaplain there, and then also had different chaplains in the different professional clubs that I played, made me realize that the two are the same. So going to church and going to the soccer field, you basically worshiping. So chaplaincy helped me see that my soccer field is my church. And I don't have to feel that guilt anymore of missing church on Sunday to play soccer. So for me, I think that's the biggest influence.
It helped you see that you could honor God wherever you were at. You could worship him wherever you were at. There's no sacred or secular spaces or divides, yeah?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. And you lived in multiple countries. You played in Malaysia and Taiwan, right? And in Malaysia and Taiwan, Haiti, and the U.S. Is soccer king or what?
Without a doubt. I know there's a lot of American football, baseball fans in here. Soccer is definitely...
Soccer is king. You and I have spoken a lot, and we've connected a lot on some of the work that Impact City has been doing in Haiti, some of the work that you've been doing personally in Haiti, and connecting those things together. Can you share a little bit, maybe just some of the stories of the kids that are a part of the academy that you've been helping to build and fund, and we've been able to provide shoes and gear for the academy there? Can you tell maybe a story of life change?
Yeah, my father and I, we started an academy in Haiti, like in 2007. At that time, I was actually in college, and so I was fortunate enough to have a scholarship to play, and with financial aid, I had some money left over, so I was using that money to fund the academy at the time. It's been a privilege because sometimes growing up here in the U.S., there's a lot of things that we take for granted, like AC. So going back to Haiti all the time to help with the academy, it's kind of like a humbling experience where I'm recharged and realize how grateful I am and how fortunate I am. And honestly, playing soccer is the only time growing up where I really felt equal, if that makes sense, because on the soccer field, the ball is round for everybody. And going to Haiti, watching the kids, like, it doesn't matter what color you are. Once the ball starts bouncing, nobody cares. We just want to play. We just want to kick the ball around. So it's definitely been a humbling experience to go to Haiti to serve. But I would say the best impact we've done as far as the academy is having the kids understand that somebody cares for you. Right? Not in the sense that, you know, you just give things and you go away and they don't see you again. So I made it a habit of going every year to support them, to come and play with them. And so one of the things that we do is that before every training session, we have a chaplain there who prays with the kids and shares, you know, a biblical story with them and, you know, teach them the gospel. And so one of the things that started happening, the parents started calling the chaplain and saying, my kids' behaviors are changing. They're cursing less. And when other kids curse around them, they're telling the kids, remember what the chaplain said? No cursing. And it was, for me, it was like the most fulfilling thing.
Yeah. And so we've been talking a lot about what would it look like for us to work together. And as we move into 2022, that's one of the things we're dreaming about is How do we continue to connect? We've been working in a different city in Haiti. He's working in a different city in Haiti, but we both live here. And he's been volunteering with us in some spaces and helping do some things here. So we're dreaming about that for 22. Your being here tonight will help us fuel whatever that thing is that God is brewing, and you're making those things possible. And those stories that you heard, you can multiply those times 16,000, 100 billion, million. I'm really good at math.
Don't look at me. My math is terrible.
But if we're able to move in this direction through missions and through some donations and things like that, I mean, the impact is ridiculous. So give it up for Gene. Give him a round of applause. Gene, thank you so much for being here today. Love you, bro.
I like hugs.
Hey, we're going to move into the funded needs section of the night. So if you got your paddle, you can grab it. This is one quote from a player parent, player who plays on the team, kind of like Manny plays on the team. They said this about Impact City: the club puts the kids first. They're involved in the community, which you've heard tonight. Invested in every player, which I believe you've heard tonight. Have amazing coaches, if you think that's true of Brian and all those who he represents. A love for God, which I think you've heard tonight, and a positive attitude. That's from a player parent, and so it's not just about the kids that we're impacting, it's about the parents as well. They're starting to see the change, okay? And so as an organization in 2022, our desire and goal is to impact 800 more players on a weekly basis. All right, you heard that we're at about 900 or so right now, so that's almost double what we're dreaming about for 2020. And your contribution tonight, your generosity tonight, our collective giving tonight, our bidding, all of those things together will make this dream possible, okay? And what you can just start to think about from a logistics standpoint is if we're gonna reach 800 more people, we're gonna need a little bit more manpower. We're gonna need some special people to come on board who can help us be administrative, but also be out in the field and then lead and manage a group of coaches. Maybe somebody who has an international background, maybe somebody who's played at the MLS level or higher, maybe somebody who speaks Creole. I don't know, maybe would be a dream for me. And so that's one of the things that we're dreaming about. If we're able to reach 800 more people, we're gonna need some more great people similar to Gene and his heart, okay? And so go ahead, grab your paddles. This is the way it's gonna work. You're gonna have 3 rounds to do this. Round 1 is gonna be $500. If you can help us scholarship one player for a year, all you need to do is raise your paddle and say, hey, I got 1. Right? You can shout it out. You can say, I got 2. You can say, I got 3. That's the way it's going to work. We've got a few people around the room, Renee and Jeremy, who are going to be writing down your paddle numbers. So you just need to hold them up long enough until I say put them down, okay? That means that they've got your number tracked, and at checkout, you'll go back there, you'll tell them your number, and you'll check out, okay? Round 2 will be $250. That helps us mobilize one coach or one chaplain for the year. It takes a little bit to get them on, to train them, to get them equipped, get them in the right gear, etc. And so if you said, you know what, I want to mobilize 5 coaches, okay? 5 coaches represents 15 players that they're going to invest in for the whole year 3 to 4 times a week, okay? Maybe you say, hey, I got 1, I got 5, I got 4. Whatever you want, make it rowdy in here, okay? Round 3, $100. That will help provide a care package for a player in need. Maybe somebody in City Reach, maybe somebody in a missions scenario like the players we talked about in Haiti. They'll get a uniform, they'll get a bag, they'll get shoes, they'll get a Bible, all right? And so this care package helps give them some dignity, give them something that they can be proud of in that way. And so that's the way that it's gonna work. 3 rounds today, all right? And our checkout team will be there at the end. And I'm actually gonna be your host. So here we go, round 1. Are you ready? Grab your paddle. Grab your paddle. Let's go. Round 1, with your gift of $500, you can help scholarship one player like Manny to participate in the youth club next year. Who can help with this? Is there anybody in the room that can help with this? We got one over here, a couple here, one here. These guys are taking numbers. Hold them up. She's got 2. Number 30's got 2. She's shouting it out. You got 2 here, number 36. You can shout it out. Don't be shy. Let them know if you got 1 or 2. Jeremy and Renee are taking numbers here. Anybody else want to help provide a scholarship for a player like Manny? All right. Thank you guys so much for your generosity. Round 2 here. For $250, with your gift of $250, you can mobilize one coach or chaplain into ministry for 2022. Who can help with this. Got a few nut paddles here, Renee. Shout out if you want 1, 2, 3, 20, 80. We've got a good number of paddles here. Thank you guys so much for your generosity. Jeremy, Renee, you gave me the nod. Are we good? Got it all down? We're going to move to that third round. With a gift of $100, you can help provide a care package to one player in City Reach or in places like Haiti. Who in the room can help with this? Got a few going up here all over. Renee, Jeremy, how we doing? Everybody good? Is there anybody else? Here, providing care package for a player in need. Anybody else? Yep, one in the back just went up. Anybody else? Very good. Can you guys put your hands together? Thank everybody in the room tonight. We are going to just kind of officially make the party happen, turn on some music. The dance floor you see is open, okay? So Juan said he's going to lead the way with some salsa moves. It's going to be great. But we just want to celebrate, right? We're celebrating 2 years of God's faithfulness, what he has done. But because you're here tonight, your contribution makes it possible to impact more players in 2022 and help them understand their God-given purpose, grow as leaders, and begin to change the world, okay? And so maybe you're here tonight and you said, you know what, one of those 3 numbers wasn't really what I had in my heart. There is a folder on the table in front of you. And if you guys could just open that up. The folder describes the various programs and ways that Impact City FC is changing and transforming lives. Inside of there, you'll also find an envelope. You'll find a giving card that kind of goes with that. And so maybe tonight you had a different number in mind. You can fill that out. You can take it to the checkout table at the end of the night, right in the back, and just drop off that envelope. You could take it home, pray with your spouse about what type of gift you might want to make if one of those numbers didn't suit you, and you can mail that right in, okay? The address is there on that envelope. But I did want to say just 2 things. 1, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for helping make this a reality. Every single one of you has played a part at a certain point in time, and I'm so grateful for that. When I think about generosity and I think about the body of Christ, I just can't help but think about how it is just a collective, right? And I tell the staff all the time, I said, hey, this is not my thing. This is not my vision. This is a God-given vision that we get to steward and manage. And many years ago when we started, I was just praying and saying, God, why would you have us to start something new? There's other people who are kind of doing soccer ministry. And the Holy Spirit whispered to me, he said, I have 1 million souls waiting. And I believe that's true. Every year we're celebrating souls that are coming into the kingdom, and we're not just leaving them. Then they're starting to grow and take their next step, and then they're starting to give their life away. And so thank you for being here. You're a part of that. We're going to keep going until we see that promise happen because we know it's a promise. And I don't know if I'm the Moses or the Joshua in this scenario, you guys who know your Bibles. Sometimes leadership passes on and then people enter the promised land. But I believe that that's true, and we're building a foundation and setting this thing up in a way that could see that type of harvest. And so your support tonight is helping to make that possible and continuing to build a very strong foundation. So thank you again. Give everybody a round of applause. I want to give you just your checkout instructions before we open up the dance floor, and dessert is served here. You can stop by the checkout straight behind you. Renee is there at the back, and Jeremy's there at the back. Number 1, you can see if you won your silent auction item. 2, you can cash out for your fund and needed commitments. And 3, you can drop off your gift envelope there if you wanted to do something in that way. All right? Thank you so much for being here. Let's dance the night away. Daniel's going to turn on some dance music. It's going to be awesome. Let's see who's the first one out on the floor.